All right, so we're going to take a look now at doing finishing off the makefile stuff, and we're going to basically rebuild that last part from class. We don't have to pick up in the middle. So this is going to be in this in multi-files. If we go over to the class website over code, we have make, and make has two versions. One is the simple, so that's just one program file, self-contained, and here's the make file. And so our main target is main, and main is built from main.o. So we're doing that extra step with the object file, and we just have to compile the object file. But the object file comes from the CPP file, and there we compile the CPP file. So with multiple files, it's going to be a little bit more complex. So here we have our main, just to review, and make our font a little bigger. And in main, main is going to call add2 and add3, and those are both in funcs.cpp, so we need to be aware of those via funcs.h. And we're also calling add4, which is in more funcs. And these aren't the best names, but it's just for demo purposes. And if we look at funcs.h, indeed, funcs.h only has the prototypes. But the CPP file, funcs.cpp, has the actual implementations, and also note that it also includes funcs.h. And then that other file, more funcs, the h file, pragma once, but then it has add4 in it, the only function inside of it. And the CPP, notice it uses add3 from func. So we kind of have this multiple chain going on where, and let me just see if I can just go to an empty buffer, where we have main, and main requires funcs, and it also requires, and yeah, I know it's an ugly drawing, more funcs, and more funcs requires funcs as well. So we've got this chain of main requiring both of those files. Funcs doesn't really require anything, it's just itself. And then, but more funcs also requires funcs. So back to here for our make file, we know our first target is going to be our executable, and that's going to be main. And I don't know. Oh, I'm not where I want to be. So let me go to the make file. So okay, I'm in the make file now, and it's empty because I emptied it. It's not what we had in class the other day. But we're going to have main, and main is going to be our target, and that's going to be from clearly main.o, except we also have to put together funcs.o and more funcs.o. All of those have to be put together to make main. And again, main the executable, and the command is going to be put them all together with the G++ with the output. Now each of those also have to be compiled. Main.o has to be compiled, funcs.o has to be compiled, and more funcs.o has to be compiled. So let's think about each of those. Well, main.o comes from main.cpp, because if you change main.cpp, if you edit that in any way, then main.o is going to be out of date and it has to be recompiled. But the other thing it's dependent on is going to be funcs.h and more funcs.h, because it includes both of them. And that's kind of always the rule. The rule is always to get to an O file, it's going to be dependent on its CPP file, and in addition to being dependent on its CPP file, any H file it includes. Well, that's not entirely true. notice that we're not dependent on IO stream. But things that are included with the angle brackets, those are systems things. Those are libraries for the actual compiler or libraries you download and install. Those don't usually change. They're only going to change if you totally reinstall everything. So not those, but these. And actually, this is the wrong version of func. So let me get to the right version, of main rather. Is this the right version of main? Let me look. I might be in the wrong. Oh, I think I'm in the wrong folder here. So let me. Right, I should be in make multi-files main.cpp. So here, it includes both of these files. Now notice, actually, I'm not going to run it on this one. I'll do it when I get to funcs and more funcs. So basically, if we change funcs.h, main.cpp changes because the include pastes it into here. And same thing with more funcs. But to compile it, we just have to do g++-c main.cpp because it's only that one file. Likewise, funcs.cpp is dependent on funcs.o rather, is dependent on funcs.cpp and funcs.h because it includes funcs.cpp. It includes funcs.h. And here, as I showed yesterday, if we do look at the man page for G++ and look at the option -e, -e says stop after pre-processing. And the preprocessor deals with the include. So if we say G++ funcs.cpp, but we give it the -e option, you'll notice that it does its internal stuff, but part of that is including funcs.h, which are these two lines. So it literally, and then the rest of funcs.cpp. So it literally pastes that in. So if those change, we've got to recompile. The same thing is going to be true with more funcs, but more funcs includes both of these. So as you'll see here, if we do G++, let me clear this. If I do G++-e more funcs.cpp, notice that it includes more funcs.h. Where are we here? So more funcs.h, but it should include funcs.h. Yes, and funcs.h up here. So it includes both of them. And so that's why more funcs is dependent on more funcs.cpp, more funcs.h, and funcs.h. And that's it. So if we want to build this, we can now just type make, and it looks like I messed something up. Let's look at the make file here. Oh, wait, am I putting the make file in the wrong place? Oh, yeah, I put that in multi-file, so let me copy that over. That's the old make file here, so let me copy from multi-file, or rather move multi-files make file to here. And now we're going to go to so it's now we're in the right place. So I'm just going to clear here, do an ls, and I'm going to look at the make file, and it indeed is the make file that we just wrote. So now if we type make, it builds the whole thing. If I remove all my O files, make it again, it compiles main, funcs, more funcs, puts them together. If I touch main.cpp, it only redoes main. If I touch more funcs.cpp, it only does more funcs in main. If I touch more funcs.h, same thing. But if I touch, well, actually, if I touch funcs.cpp, oops, let me remove touch.cpp. That shouldn't exist. If I touch funcs.cpp, it rebuilds funcs and main. But if I touch funcs.h, because that's a dependency for all of them, it rebuilds all of them. And this is where make starts to get its power, is it just recompiles the parts you need. Now, to clean this up, we're going to just add a clean target, and that'll be main.o, funcs.o, and more funcs.o. So I can do make clean, and that gets rid of my O files. But that's pretty much it. And I'm not going to put a help one in here because really you normally wouldn't tell the world that they could make main.o, funcs.o, and more funcs.o. Really, they're only going to either make main or clean. You might want to do main, one of the O's when you're testing, or I might want to, but not for not for regular use. But that's how make files work. And you're going to, for lab 3, need to use a make file. And in fact, for lab 3, I will give you the template for a make file, so you just have to modify it. And that's what most people do when they're starting to use main. They don't write make files from scratch. They take a make file that already works and modify it, and they just go through it. And they basically look through it and be like, oh, these are my files, and they change them. So if there was there was a new function.cpp, or new file.cpp, they'd add that, etc., etc., etc. All right, so that's it. So just, you'll have watched this. We're going to build on this with some more advanced stuff in class on Thursday, but this is it for now. You will need to use this on lab 3, so if you have some extra time, what I would recommend is, make a copy of the part of lab 2 that uses the 2 files, and see if you can adapt this make file to work for that, and if you can, you'll be in great shape. So I'm going to put this up. So I am going to, get rid of func, because that was a mistake. Git commit make file, finish the multi-make file, and I'll push this so it goes up to GitHub. And as I said, Thursday we're going to do some more advanced work, and that's because there's a lot more you can do with make beyond this, and that's going to be Thursday. But that's pretty much it. So yeah, enjoy, and I'll see you all on Thursday.